gonna stand there like a coat rack, or are you gonna do something?
What the fuck?
The original Deus Ex is, without a doubt, one of the best games we've ever been blessed with. Its timeless and groundbreaking take on the immersive sim genre still sends ripples of nostalgia, strong enough to become waves of returning players, likely on a daily basis. So I asked myself, what better way to continue to ride this wave than by playing Deus Ex's pre-sequel, Deus Ex Human Revolution, to see if it is possible to beat it without utilising one of the game's main mechanics: augmentations. Given Human Revolution is a relatively competent shooter, however, I needed to take some extra steps to ensure this challenge was still a challenge. And so I disabled automatic health regeneration, have absolutely no usable radar to help with tracking enemies, courtesy of a mod called Hardcore Revival, which in itself makes the game more challenging with AI tweaks, weapon changes, adjustments to hackable keypads, computers, and less inventory space due to the items being bigger. And if that wasn't enough for you, I'm also playing the game on its hardest difficulty. Give me Deus Ex. With all that, as well as some other elements I'll get into later, it certainly seems the odds are stacked against me. But seriously though, how hard can it be? Given the game starts with an unskippable cutscene, I'll use this time to discuss the rules. I cannot use any augmentations. That's basically it. Whilst that may seem simple, the extra steps I have taken do make this trickier than it first seems. The radar is completely disabled, as the Hardcore Revival mod strips back some of the default installed mods. Now sadly I couldn't get rid of all of them, but then again even the original Deus Ex had a few augmentations installed by default. Health regen is disabled despite it showing in the augmentation menu as installed, but I've managed to do this by using the debug console. And lastly, I won't be able to do any hacking. So why is this an issue? Well, because by default Adam can hack level 1 security, and because of this, some keypads or computers, whatever, do not have a code or a password that is out in the world to be found, or even an environmental workaround, since the game expects you to occasionally just play the hacking minigame. As hacking is an ability granted via augmentations, doing any hacking would be seen as using augmentations, and therefore I have to avoid it at all costs. Luckily, more often than not, I am able to find the necessary code or password, but I shall address those instances where that isn't possible as and when we stumble across them. The opening and vanilla Adam section of the game is relatively straightforward, despite the whole, nearly dying bit, and this gives me some false hope early on that this challenge won't result in any additional premature hair loss. 6 months later, and Adam returns as the $6 million man. I just hope David Sarif won't be too miffed that we won't be using any of the new toys he had installed in him.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
I get zapped by Pritchard, choose the shirty option with him and steal his candy bar. I get airborne with Mallet and decide a long-range non-lethal weapon might be a good starting choice. So this is what our default and sadly unavoidable installed augs are, and this is how they shall stay for the remainder of the game. I'd have loved to have fiddled about with the game's code to remove every single augmentation, but sadly that is beyond my technical know-how, and apparently most of the internet's as well. It probably goes without saying that I will be searching every nook and cranny to stay well supplied with ammo, health, money, and those all-important pocket secretaries with passwords and codes on. I feed a box to some electricity, grab myself a silent sniper, thanks Director's Cut, and am spared my first death by this bulletproof door. I loot all downed enemies like the rabid kleptomaniac I am, and press on via the scenic route. I leave this dude chilling with the cleaning supplies before getting my first taste of how easily and quickly the enemy's bullets tear through my health on this difficulty. Remember, my health does not regenerate, so managing my healing supplies is paramount to success.
I'm on it, but until I find this particular breach and fix it, you'll have to hack the door manually.
Yeah, I don't think so. Brit stick. Now, the game intends for you to hack this first keypad as a tutorial to the hacking mechanic, and because of such, there is nowhere to find the code anywhere in the level. So, I painstakingly hand-keyed sequential numbers until, mercifully, the code is accepted. I am so glad it was closer to the quadruple 0 end and not the quadruple 9 end. I really hope I don't have to do that again. After clearing the next room of baddies and looting everything not nailed down, I save the hostages by shooting the bomb. Admire this globe and experience my first of many, many deaths. Another death later and I find a code on a pocket secretary which for some reason doesn't pre-populate at the keypad. I witness this synchronized taking of cover, eventually defeat the enemies and, oh, see how the screen's all red? Well, since Adam's health doesn't regenerate, yeah, it kind of stays like that until I heal up, arguably adding another layer of difficulty on low health because I can't bloody shit. Weapon mods are back and I find a damage boost which I give to my pistol before the game tempts me with a Praxis kit, essentially a point to invest in the augmentation menu. Think the AUG canisters and upgrades rolled into one from the original Deus Ex, but on some sort of high-tech floppy disk. I make it to the hacker who... yeah, and I play with some cardboard boxes. I have to turn Adam to alcohol to have some chance at survival, and it's already having a negative effect on him, as soon I'm making this man hop the floor. It's worth mentioning that in terms of bosses in Human Revolution, there are two types, fighty and talky, and we're about to face the first of the latter. And please believe me when I say, for this and all future talky bosses, I did not use a guide and simply chose the options that I thought were best.
Go on, get out of here. You're free to go. I did what you wanted, so let me go.
Final hostage saved, it's time to fly back to Sarif HQ. I try to recreate the opening of my original Deus Ex video, get mistaken for Gandhi by Pritchard, so prove him wrong by stealing his wallet. I debrief Sarif and get my next objective, to break into the morgue in the local police station to get what's left of the hacker's brains. I pick up my first side quest and yes, I am going to try to do as much of the side content as possible for the full experience and walk headfirst into my second side quest.
Say the line, Adam!
I never asked for this.
I go to the nearby limb clinic for the sole purpose of buying healing items, and on the way out am treated to this unique dialogue from Sarif as I did not pick up a Praxis kit.
Adam? Yeah, I just spoke to Vera Markovic. You aren't getting any Praxis kits installed?
No.
I sell some loot and buy another damage upgrade from this merchant who has the unique ability to laugh with his mouth closed. I shoot some hoops, miss, try and climb on top of this gas station, and fail miserably. I take offence at this street dancer, fail to see that this electric floor will kill me, and die. Reloading, I debut something I dubbed the box method, and make a bit of progress on a side quest. I enter the police station, get too much information from this detective,
I want a blowjob.
and prepare to face another talky boss, Wayne Haas.
You're lying to yourself. You pulled that trigger, no one else.
The door's unlocked. I'll tell the guys to let you through.
Oh yeah, 2 for 2, baby. I mooch unaccosted through the police station, looting ammo, items and codes as I go, but end up unexpectedly cock-blocked by a cell door.
Sorry, baby. Can't do it through the bars.
I managed to find my first automatic unlocking device, and believe me, these will be immensely useful in the future, as so far I am being thwarted by level 1 hacks that have no code or password out in the world, and I am certainly in no hurry to try up to 10,000 combinations again. I grab the neural hub and jetson my way out of the station.
Give me a call in a couple of days, okay?
I help Adam unpack and get my next objective, to find and shut down an antenna in Derelict Row, but not before getting the goodies from Jetson's stash. On the way I get a harsh lesson in gravity, twice, and realise I don't need the punch through walls augment when I have plastic explosives. After mercilessly picking off the gangbangers with my sniper rifle, I grab another AUD and fight my way to the antenna. It was here I realised again the game wanted me to hack the keypad to shut down the antenna. No explosive could do the job, and there was no code hidden in the world. I wasn't prepared so soon to try the 10k combination method, so resigned myself to fail the challenge and hack it. Nah, just kidding. I used one of the AUDs instead. It takes me a while to figure out how to get back into Malik's helicopter, but before long I'm dropped off at a nearby factory for plot reasons. I buy some grenades off this merchant and walk headfirst into a cutscene.
What about the Dutchman?
I dispatch the baddies, do the box method again and ditch the tranq rifle for a revolver and some extra inventory space. I completely mess up trying to flashbang a room full of enemies and get... yeah, 3 more deaths and a pile of bodies later, and I'm finally making progress.
I went down, down, down.
Oh my god, is that...
Metal Gear. It can't be.
Luckily those grenades I bought earlier do the job nicely. I'm sure they won't be a problem or harder to kill as the game progresses. Turns out I'm still just as easy to kill, however, as this section alone nets me another 4 deaths on account of sheer enemy numbers alone. Once that was done, however, I loot the place, complete some very important work, and make my way— oh for God's sake! And made my way to face the hardest boss in the entire game. Barrett. Cutscene Jensen is just about as rubbish as I am when playing as him, however despite this I managed to beat Bazza on my first go, and net myself a nice shotgun as a reward. I just need to play Tetris a bit before I can pick it up. Back at HQ I run into Bill Taggart, who clearly went to the same fake cough school as Stanton Dowd. I confront Sarif about some intel from Pritchard about the hole in the firewall that led to all this nasty business, and I'm happy to report that that's 3 for 3 of the talky bosses defeated.
Nice jacket. I bet you're hiding some real cutting-edge enhancements under it, aren't you?
No love. Quite the opposite, in fact. I pick up another side quest and decide to prioritise it over the whole corporate espionage shtick for a while. Sneaking back into Derelict Row undetected is simple, given everyone is already dead, so finding the briefcase is a doddle. It's at this point I realise the first 2 side quests I picked up are going to require hacking, as each objective is behind a level 1 security door or computer, and I am neither prepared to use my last remaining AUD, as I may need this for a story-related hack bypass, or prepared to try every conceivable combination yet again, so I made the slightly annoying decision to give up on these 2 quests. One of the objectives for the side quest I can actually complete requires a non-lethal takedown, so I borrow a PEPS from the police armoury. I meet with the corrupt cop, pick up his package, crop his package, and introduce the gangbangers to, well, this.
Say hello to my little friend!
I make my way to O'Malley's apartment to search for some incriminating evidence, and no. Oh, God, please. No. No.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night, I can feel my leg.
Oh, thank Christ for that. There is another locked door inside O'Malley's apartment, but thankfully the code is nearby. At least there won't be any more nasty surprise. For the love of...
It's a trap!
Drugs secured, I head back to my undercover friend and I agree to help take down O'Malley, especially after making me do that keypad rubbish again. I leave O'Malley in the custody of these cardboard boxes and get a compliment about my shiny metal behind.
You're cute ass.
That done, it's time to progress the story. Oh wait, where are we going again?
China? China, China, China. I have to have my China. China.
I'm barely in China 5 minutes before I'm grabbing a side quest, stealing a key card, and cosplaying as a bartender. I come across this merchant who has the best items ever, and I manage to stock up on AUDs, ammo, more grenades, and a silencer. I free Ning using an AUD.
I can be persuasive.
I have to get out of here.
Visit the Leaning Tower of AC units, and am next tasked with dealing with a man named Diamond Chan. One of the ways you can deal with this quest is by planting drugs and throwing his unconscious body off the roof. However, the way it wants you to incapacitate him is with the non-lethal takedown, something enabled by augmentations. I obviously won't be doing that, so opt for the stun gun and headshot method instead.
What? There was no foul play here.
As this game has no real fast travel, between each quest marker is a lot of this. I complete the quest, spot this curious item for sale, and now have to deal with Bell Tower. Luckily there's a vent nearby and never mind. Second time round and I'm in, and it's time to find the apartment of the guy who hacked Sarif Industries. I pull off these 3 sick headshots due to my undisputed skill with a mouse and manage to find the hacker's secret man cave. I unlock the PC with an AUD and get my next lead. Time to go clubbing. Inside the hive, I loosen up a bit before going to see Not Tong, who serves as our 4th talkie boss. I like how they patiently wait for me to decide what to say.
Alright. You can see Tong.
4 for 4 on the talkie boss front, and it's time to go see Tong. What? How did you get down here before me?
Guess you're not as sharp as you think.
I get my next lead on the hacker, but also pick up another side quest before I leave, disabling antennas and talking to a woman. After disabling antennas 1, 2 and 3, and dying twice along the way, I get the woman's location, but first have to get past this annoying baddie. After talking to the woman, I agree to help her, which means... It costs me 5k to release her from her contract, but since I'm not buying Praxis kits, I have money to burn. I take offence at this couple arguing, watch this chef oversalt his food, and get another side quest from Melek. Turns out someone she knew was murdered by her boyfriend, and she wants me to uncover the truth. I top up my healing supplies before speaking with Mr. X, who gives me the autopsy and another objective, to go to the boyfriend's apartment. Along the way, I get mistaken for a Yankees fan by this man, but finally bust into the apartment with an AUD. After using another AUD on Lee's PC, it's time to confront the man himself. I manage to Poirot my way through the conversation to make Lee admit to the murder, and then have to disable the hive's security. But the guards, well, they don't like this at all. After my 4th death and reload, however, they all just seem to forget about it. That's nice. I complete the quest, out Lee in a very public manner, and continue with finding the hacker. I reach Van Bruggen, who tells me the real problem is Tai Young Medical, and that I need to bust into their offices to get a recording that he left as insurance. Luckily, I already have the keycard he needs for me to gain access, and he hands it over just in time for Tai Young Medical baddies to arrive.
I helped you out. At least give me a weapon so I can defend myself.
Dude actually thinks he can have any of my modded weapons. Nah.
Sorry, Windmill.
The place is now swarming with TYM dudes, but pretending to be a cardboard box allows me to avoid them. I stealth my way into the bathroom, struggle moving a box, and get blown up. This man throws an EMP grenade thinking it'll disadvantage me, but clearly doesn't realise no orgs is how I roll. Ah! With my hacked access card, I tram it to TYM HQ, have to use another AUD to get through this door, and find a man trapped in a room with his own farts. Help! After saving him, I get a free pass from one guard and press deeper into the facility. I have my next entanglement with a robot before surprise attacking this guard like the cool, badass professional I am.
Stop right there.
I make it to the public area of TYM, so for now can have a small breather from killer robots and goons. I manage to grab the card I need to progress, but am spotted doing so, ending my brief spell of non-hostility. Reloading, I succeed in staying incognito and make it through to the next area unscathed. I find a Praxis kit in a drawer but see no point in taking it before stumbling across my next obstacle, getting into the data core.
Where do you think you're going?
This guard takes great offence at me passing this threshold, so I decide to go all guns blazing after I reload. It doesn't end well. It's here I realise the difficulty has taken an upward spike, so guns quietly blazing is now my only option. I managed to make it to the laser bit without incident, but then have incident trying to get to the next elevator. 5th time's the charm, however, and I decide an all-out offensive is the way to go again.
Oh yeah.
I get the evidence, spot this thing, and take a minigun to the face. I make it through the offices and enjoy the scenery as I ascend into an obvious boss room. I confront Zhao, who spins some waffle and then tries to bang me. Now I've got about 20 guards to deal with, and let's say it takes a few attempts to find the right method.
3 hours later.
I make a run for it, thinking I'm safe, but now have 2 Metal Gears to deal with. I happen to have enough explosives and revolver ammo to put them down first go, however, before getting a lift to Picus. I fail to jump this fence, so sacrifice a precious AUD for the goodies within. This first bit of Picus features no enemies or NPCs, so take it from me, I looted the place with extreme prejudice. I confront Eliza Kassan, who turns out to be a Force ghost, and now have to deal with an ambush.
It doesn't go well. It's only a game, so put up a real good fight. I'm gonna be snookering you tonight. I'm playing for my aim, so you better believe I'm right. I'm gonna be snookering you tonight. Stay bright! It's time to stop!
Eventually I make it through, however, and just cue the music. I find an AUD, which is clearly a herald of my luck changing, and finally manage to press on to the next checkpoint. I have to use my new AUD almost immediately, realise I am now facing augmented enemies who can turn invisible, but after 2 deaths find a way to cheese them. I'm now at the bit where I summon an elevator and have to fend off waves of enemies until it arrives, and given I had faced no issues whatsoever getting to this point, I was not at all worried about this section. Granted, I only die once during this bit, and for some reason throwing a gas grenade aggroes the turret into shooting bell tower. This was another annoying section that took a lot of retries, which is becoming something of a trend now, and I'm starting to run out of ways to write "I died a lot, question my life choices, but eventually the stars aligned for me, and I succeeded." I allow myself to get zapped to deplete the one and only Duracell battery I possess, spend ages killing this robot, and read this sexy email. The game is being surprisingly generous with weapons and ammo, which can only mean one thing: time to face the hardest boss in the entire game. Safe to say Fedorova is far more challenging than Barry, despite all the goodies the game has stashed in lockers all around the boss arena. I try the alternative method to gas her, but even that ends up in a dead end. Get it? I eventually get into the rhythm of stunning her with EMP mines and unloading into her with the revolver and shotgun until she's dead. I get Mommy Shodan vibes from Eliza here and finish looting the arena before hitching a ride with Fly Girl. I'm dropped off on the roof of my apartment building on account of the riots happening around Detroit, spot this guy who I can't help but think was modelled off Joe Pesci, and meet Sarif in my living room. I get my next objective to find out where Sandoval is from Taggart, who just happens to be speaking at the nearby convention centre. I top up my healing supplies as well as ammo and another mod before chasing up a side quest from Pritchard. I find the detective a little worse for wear, who points me to a storage unit before mysteriously dying with no intervention on my part. I run headfirst into the suits, who start blasting at me, use an AUD to get the last of the quest related info, and improve fire safety by clearing these boxes. I get my birthday money from Michelle and complete another side quest. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Convention centre now, and it's time to confront Taggart about Sandoval's whereabouts. I try the sneaky approach first, but, well, that doesn't last long. Eventually I end up accidentally confronting Taggart in front of everyone in what serves as our 5th talkie boss.
I'll show you where Isaias is.
Boom! I get the address for Sandoval's Detroit apartment, but walk headfirst into another side quest as I'm Jensening my way out of there.
You serious?
Now, as if I didn't have anything else to do, I've got to stop a man named Jacob White from detonating a bomb.
A bomb.
I enter the sewers and everything starts blowing up, so I assume I'm in the right place. I get turned into Swiss cheese by this turret, but on my second go manage to incapacitate White and deal with the bomb.
By shooting it.
This will never not be funny to me. You know, for an augmented human, Adam's sprint is pitifully short. Hell, even I can sprint for longer than that. With that done, it's time to confront Sandoval. I find my way to the apartment, zap Zeke 3 times to put him down, and find a secret room. Stay there, Sanders. I descend into Sandoval's secret boss lair and take a face full of lead. Oh, it's going to be like that, isn't it? After this impressive display of marksmanship, I finally succeed and bust my way into Sandoval's office. I get the answers I need to progress the story and square off against Sandoval as Talkie Boss number 6. What kind of prosthesis is that? I meet Malik on the roof, get a lift back to Sarif HQ, and spot an email that would fit right in with my scam baiting series. I meet Hugh Darrow in a cutscene, and his posh British accent immediately tells me he's going to be a baddie.
You are like a dog with a bone.
What did he say?
Looks like I'm going back to China again in what I'm sure will be a boring and uneventful flight. Now, this is the part where if I don't take out the baddies in the ambush, Malik will die. But I don't know if you've noticed, combat encounters are starting to become a bit of a problem for me. Luckily, they all seem focused on Malik, allowing me to snipe them off from a distance. Issue is, eventually they drop a Metal Gear, and shortly after that...
Hey, Jensen.
Malik, you hurt?
Just a scratch, spy boy.
Malik. No!
You killed my friend!
I die 3 more times trying to save Malik, and I'm really starting to feel as though it's hopeless. Yet, on my next go, this happens.
Don't be a silly duck.
Maybe not. This is your best chance to slip by them unnoticed, and you know it. Get out of here, Jensen. The bird's fixed and I'm taking off. Now get on with the damned mission. Thanks, spy boy.
After Malik is saved, all the augmented folk get zapped, and I'm given an optional objective to get a new biochip. There's quite the queue outside the limb clinic, however I'm British, so...
Elizabeth Duclair, spokeswoman for the WHO. Confirm.
Eventually I'm in and forego the new biochip, buy more healing supplies, and get myself another side quest instead, dealing with an augmented super soldier. I get another side quest from Darrow as I'm minding my own business, and put it on the back burner as I'm still looking for Zelazny. I tried to steal this shopkeeper's stock, but he won't let me, so meet with Darrow's contact instead. She tells me to retrieve a data chip from some terrorists, but not kill them, which is fine as I'm known to occasionally zap people. Conveniently, the nearby sewers also contain Zelazny, so I go and have a chat. I actually decide to side with him and not to avoid an awkward fight either. He helps reduce bell tower forces in the level. I have to queue up again outside Lim to complete the quest, but eventually I do and get a useless praxis kit for my time. I complete the other quest, get scolded by the lady for asking a question,
Blackmail, Mr. Jensen?
and press on with the story. Good God, is this guy made out of rubber? Here's another section that took a really long time to get past. I think it's because we're at a point where the game expects you to have a plethora of augmentations to help mitigate the difficulty hike. Which is great, of course, unless you're me. I spot this huge turd that makes me feel so dirty, I have no choice but to wash my digital metal hands. Eventually I make it through, otherwise this video wouldn't exist, and run back into Tong. Probably because I just killed all his goons, Tong wants me to help get his son, Tracer, back back before he'll help me any further.
I can hardly wait.
I'm in the sewers again, and Tracer Tong is being held in the basement of an old noodle factory. Noodle! So I grab the AUD that's on offer and get to work. I kill a box, stop the gas and waste the AUD I've just got, and then die. On my next incarnation I survive and make progress without further incident. I reach the prison, get shot in the ass, and have to use another AUD to open the cell door. I meet the man who in some 30 years will zap JC Denton in the face, and after freeing him pulls a Houdini. Tong Sr. is pleased with my success and gives me the intel to continue the story. Before heading to the shipyard, I stock up, enjoy further adventures in weapon modification, and crawl through a tunnel. I thin out Bell Tower's numbers from the safety of the car park, grab Tong's package, which sounds wrong, and fail to see what's in the bed of this truck. After a clumsy death by robot which seems to invite further visits from the Grim Reaper, I finally manage to come out on top, but push my luck a bit too far and take a few shots from the Metal Gear before triggering the cutscene. My failure to heal up before this would invariably put me at a great disadvantage for the ordeal I'm about to endure.
You're the cruise director? Because I've got a complaint.
After climbing into a stasis pod, I wake up in the DLC, the missing link, where Adam is being aggressively brought back to consciousness. First thing I realise is my low health has carried over, only now I have no healing items or weapons at all. I think all but the default augmentations have been reset too, but as I've invested in none of them, I can't really be certain.
I can't believe you've done this.
I kill a man with a box, so the game rewards me with another death, but eventually make it back to where my stuff is being kept.
Oh no, where are my AUDs?
I have weapons but no ammo, as well as a few grenades, so resource management is going to be crucial. I somehow pick up a side quest, fixing a broken stasis pod, and on the way to grab a fresh battery, find another weapon mod. After some storage container parkour, I make it to the main deck of the ship and commit seppuku whilst trying to gas a guard. Reloading, I succeed in gassing all guards on the poop deck and finally have some ammo. I get to the bridge, get my next objective, and escape an ambush. Slowly but surely, I manage to make my way through the ship, mainly thanks to my modded silenced pistol. I managed to get a quadruple kill with a single gas grenade and pass through this cleverly disguised loading screen. On the main base proper now, and there's no shortage of soldiers and even a Metal Gear to contend with. I find some hentai, experience my 100th death, yay, and after reloading get blown up. After some further shenanigans, I finish looting Hangar 1 and proceed to make trouble in Hangar 2. I meet with my mysterious benefactor who recruits me to find out what the heck is going on here, and she also points me to a nearby merchant. I stock up on ammo, which is discounted due to helping fix that pod earlier, and press deeper into the base. It takes me a while to get my bearings, but I persevere and make it to the detention centre. I increase my security clearance, break a leg, and limp over to the interrogation section. I disappoint a woman.
I can't help you right now.
Get a brief cameo from Gary Savage and pick up my next objective, to get Burke's spare eye. The eye is located in Burke's office, which is locked. To add insult to injury, there is also no code for it out in the world either. Trust me, I checked. I hate to say it, folks, but I really do only have one option.
They ask you how you are, you just need to say that you're fine. You're not really fine, you just can't.
5 years later and I've got the damn eye and swap out my boring old revolver for Burke's special gold one. Quinn turns the eye into a usable key for me, so off I trot back to the last plot related obstacle. Bottom of the ocean now, and I confront Kavanagh about what they've been doing here, but she agrees to help secure some incriminating evidence if I can open the door for her to leave.
Damn right you are.
I have to escape the lift as Burke shut it down mid-ascent and end up in the unique position of being able to ambush my would-be ambushers. I find Keitner, who is a little worse for wear, and she tells me Burke has enacted a Bond villain-esque plot to gas all the prisoners, complete with its own countdown.
Of course!
I fight my way to the console, but am left with an impossible choice. Save the prisoners or save Kavanagh with the incriminating evidence. No, I thought there must be another way. This is a Deus Ex game after all. And it turns out I was right. After finding a secret vent, I grab some nearby boxes as the jump is simply too high for my pitiful unaugmented augmented legs. The pressure I felt trying to get this box to stay in place was actually quite insane, but eventually I make it through and save everyone with a single bullet. I end the lockdown and now it's time to get even with Burke. Quinn leaves me some goodies which will certainly come in handy, as getting to Burke is now also something of a challenge.
Oh, no.
13 deaths later and I finally make it to the boss chamber, and I am so ready to put this DLC to bed. I deal with Metal Gear Burke easily enough and start fighting my way forward. I take out this heavy with my last sniper bullet and put Burke down once and for all with his own gun. I meet the hacker who's been assisting me. It's Quinn, big surprise, and oh my god, yes! My AUDs! Yeah! I climb into a stasis pod and fly back towards the main quest. I awake in Singapore and contact Pritchard, who expresses some desire to leash me, so to that end I disable the nearby signal jammer. This allows Pritchard to see the GPL tracking signals of the missing science team, so after a brief skirmish I set about finding them. I take this dying patient's pain meds, find my first scientist who tells me Megan is in the secure section, and we hatch a plot to cause a distraction. I face another enemy gauntlet en route to the next scientist, and I'd be lying if I said I did it in my first go. I reach Dr. Colvin, who, aside from her initial hostility, is down with the plan. Along the way to the last scientist, I spot this bizarre occurrence, but make it to Dr. Koss without further misadventure. I upload the virus Koss gave me, which opens the way to the restricted section, and mark the occasion by hitting this guard in the nads. Shortly after that, and I'm travelling this loading screen disguised as an elevator, and it's time to face the hardest boss in the entire game.
My name is Jeff.
Zal makes another appearance and tries to turn me off like I'm someone with augmentations, when I've spent the majority of the game proving otherwise.
Women never fail to underestimate men.
Nemir fights me naked for some reason, but is clearly shy about it as he keeps turning invisible. He has a pattern of chucking 3 grenades before bouncing off somewhere, and my first attempt is a failure. My second sees me hit low health a few times, but I eventually manage to do enough damage in return, and he is finished.
Finish it.
I loot the boss arena, confront Megan, who confirms my earlier theory that Darrow is the baddie, and get an objective to retract the roof so her and the other scientists can escape. Malik swoops in to drop an electric egg on the zombified Bell Tower boys on the helipad, and Megan and co get to safety, but not before telling me to get my arse to Panchaea and stop the broadcast sending all the augmented people doolally. Thankfully there's this convenient shuttle, a Deus Ex Machina if you will, that'll shoot me there in the time it takes for the game to load. This is it, Panchaea. You'll notice things are a little worse for wear here, but mercifully we won't be dealing with any enemies just yet, and those that we do deal with are nothing more than mindless zombies, so I'm sure they won't cause me any bother. My first task is to reach the top of the tower and disengage the lockdown, so to that end I enter this hole. The spicy water here kills my boxes, and then shortly afterwards me, so after reloading I use the correct box like the game intended. Once inside properly, I am feeling pretty prepared for whatever the game has in store for me, given my decent stock of ammo and healing items.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
After taking the elevator to the top of the tower, I spot this toilet catastrophe, nearly get added to the list of NSF casualties by this turret, and confront Darrow as our final talky boss. Darrow accuses me of being augmented, which, after what I've just endured, is nothing short of heresy.
No, I didn't mean to imply...
But with that, the last talky boss is defeated. Pritchard tells me he loves me.
Careful there, Francis.
And I get my first taste of zombie enemies.
Oh my dear lord.
What they lack in range and attack power, they more than make up for in numbers, and getting to the next section itself is an exercise in precision movement and knowing when to fire. I miss out on a merchant because I can't move a vending machine and face this Walking Dead-esque moment fleeing from about 20 zombies. I manage to evade them and loop round to the next elevator, but my problems are far from over as I realise I am down to my last healing item. I try to use an AUD but flashbang myself instead and then get stuck behind this door. I get taken to low health courtesy of a mine and use my last health item, not realising how much pain this is going to cause me. I think I just assumed I would find more before reaching the point of no return, and I'm not really one for save scumming. Get used to this red screen, boys. For a laugh, Adam greets Sarif with his penis out and gets this reaction.
What the hell do you think you're doing, son? Put that away!
But once all zipped up, Sarif pontificates on what Adam should do about the broadcast. Very similar, in fact, to how the original Deus Ex handled its final mission by getting messages from key characters trying to influence the end of the game.
And that would be a bad thing.
All I'm interested in at the moment is survival and trying to find more healing items, but the game is clearly punishing my overconfidence earlier on. I take another death by merely considering backtracking, which forces me to press forward despite my dire condition. I manage to succeed this bridge of death, but what I lose in turn is a vast chunk of ammo and a tiny bit of my sanity when not one of the bodies has any useful loot for me. I finally reach the point of no return, low on health, ammo dwindling, but in spite of all that decide it wouldn't be much of a challenge if it was easy. I'm not prepared to waste more time and ammo fighting hordes in hope of finding some worthwhile items, so I make my final choice and descend to the final and unquestionably hardest boss in the entire game. So let me explain how to beat this boss. There are 3 ladies trapped in these pods, and I have to open them, kill them, avoid being shot once by the 3 rotating turrets above, as well as avoiding the additional enemies that arrive after each lady is defeated. There is more to it after that point, but believe me, between now and then, there's just a hell of a lot of this. I did try the alternative methods such as hacking the nearby computers or terminating the life support, but my main issue was the turrets, so I had to stay close to the pods to avoid being shot. After a while I managed to find a rhythm of running straight down, opening the pod and using the both barrel shot from the shotgun 3 times before it shuts to kill the lady. Then I would preemptively chuck a grenade at the storage rooms which open to disable the melee enemies. Of course, once all 3 are dead, Zhao starts electrocuting the floor, which is also an instant death, but trying to run around avoiding being zapped usually meant just getting killed by the robots instead. Astoundingly, I manage a run where I take care of 2 of the pods and the 2 subsequent rooms of baddies with some well-placed shots and grenades. One of the corpses even has some painkillers. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, I forgot what colour looked like. I won't lie, I made a cheeky quick save here, and hopefully when I get into the figures shortly, you will understand why. I kill off the 3rd and final pod, which disables the turrets, begins the zappy sequence, and releases some security robots. I die a few more times trying to avoid these final hazards whilst working out my strategy, until... Before attempting the final boss, I had died a total of 127 times, and I died a further 36 times trying to beat her.
36, counted them myself.
36! That means, of my total deaths, I can attribute 28.3% of them to this section alone. And in the end, do you know how I beat her after all that? By standing and waiting in this bloody storage room, which avoids all zappy attacks and the robots. I mean, the hours spent! Anyway, it's done now. It's almost over. Zhao goes pop and I have one final decision left to make. How it all ends. I show you one final time that I installed no additional augmentations during my playthrough and even earned 29 Praxis points along the way. That total would be higher, but I avoided picking up Praxis kits in the world when I stumbled across them. As I make my final choice, I end the game safe in the knowledge that yes, you can beat Deus Ex Human Revolution without augmentations. Guys, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see and want to see more, please consider subscribing for future videos, and why not check out my other Can You Beat challenges, including the original Deus Ex. Feel free to drop a comment if you fancy a chat, and all that's left to say is, take care, and I will see you in the next one.